Hello, welcome back to the Project Hercules Diaries. I want to talk today about the next job, which is to mark the timing cover here for boring out the bearing retainers, which must be absolutely in line with the centre here of the sleeve drive crank. There will be a bearing on the end of here, and that bearing will be let into there. So the sleeve drive crank is supported by two bearings, a small one on the outside edge of the engine and a larger one inside the engine. So in order to do that, how do you mark this exactly in the center of here when it's bolted onto here and there might be a slight bit of movement? It's a difficult thing to measure. So the plan, what we're going to do is to take the sleeve drive crank out of the bearing, which either comes straight out or it sticks. Brilliant, it's come straight out. For the purposes of video, make me look all slick and cool. And then we take this piece of aluminium and we'll turn it down so it fits exactly inside the bearing. So this will be exactly centered in the bearing. We'll bore a hole in the center of here, a small hole, maybe 1/4 of an inch, so that we can fit a punch through the other side, and we'll punch through, punch into the exact center of here, not the center of this disc, but in line with the center of the bearing. And we'll do that by, once this is fitted in there with a hole in the middle, we'll fit the timing cover to the engine. Excuse my amazing video skills. So once that's fitted to the engine and it's bolted in place, so it's in its final resting place, we'll then be able to punch through from the other side so that we then have a mark from which we can drill and then bore out to fit the bearing. And there'll also be some oil ways in here. The oil pump goes on the end here and is driven by a worm gear on the end of the crank. It picks up from inside and from a pipe that will come into the side here from the oil tank. It will push oil into the timing case here and up some oil ways that we've still got to drill to feed the bearing and to feed this bush which drives the sleeve up and down. So the oil will feed into here, a little bit of splash for the bearing, through the center, up and out. You can see there's a little hole just on the edge there. The oil will come out of that hole and feed the only plain bush in the whole engine, which is on the bottom of the sleeve. So that's how the oil feeds will work. The oil pump will also pump into here and out here to go into the center of the crankshaft, so that the pump here pumps in, out for the crankshaft, out for the sleeve drive crank. And those oil ways still need to be drilled, which is a bit of a complex operation, but we should be able to do that. In proper Blue Peter style, here's one we made earlier. Now, this is off a different engine that Bob designed way back. I think it's off a 125 or a 500cc, but it's the same sort of principle. This is the timing cover that goes on the side of the engine. That's the bearing that's gone in for the end of the sleeve drive crank. That's where the oil pump pushes oil in. That's where it comes out for the supply to the crankshaft, and there'll be an oil feed coming out here as well for the bearing. So that's the kind of thing that we've got to do. And if you look here, this hole isn't in the center of the casting, but it is in the center of whatever was on this side of the engine, and that's what we've got to do over here. So it's not about getting it central to here, it's about getting it central to here. But I've got to mark and cut this component. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. It's not done yet. There's a fair bit of work to do in making this to fit the bearing nicely, thinning it down so it doesn't protrude, making the hole in the center and then marking through. And we'll have to do exactly the same again for the crankshaft. So fit the crankshaft main bearings in here, make a mandrel, punch that through so we get an exact line up here for the oil hole for the end of the crankshaft. Okay, that's the update. It's going to be a little bit longer because I'm working this weekend, but once again, thanks for watching.